Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and I plan on tier 3ing Winter Soldier today. However, I do want to show you guys, I want to give you a little bit of a taste one more time of what the coldest soldier can do at tier 2. So I want to give you a little bit of a baseline run. And now the big problem with Winter Soldier, and I want to get this problem out of the way first because I feel like it's only fair to the character and it's only fair to the players. His play style. Now, you can see there that the play style does include huge burst damage, and I can report that I have already seen screenshots of multiple different players able to achieve stage 99 clears for Proxima and Corvus using Winter Soldier at tier 3 with this exact team up. So there's a lot to get into, there's a lot to talk about, but on the other hand, whenever you're talking about Winter Soldier, until he gets a uniform, and we're assuming he gets a uniform for Winter Soldier and Falcon TV show in August, so that's like, what, 6 months away? But until then, if you are thinking of tier 3ing him, the very first question you have to ask yourself, I mean, first of all, you have to have his uniform, his Infinity War uniform, but you have to ask yourself, do I like this playstyle? Because getting his tier 3 skill is going to change this playstyle a tiny bit, but not much. You're still going to be doing mostly this, and I understand that it doesn't look very difficult. It looks fun, it looks easy, it looks simple. It might look simple because I've practiced it when you use strikers that have mind control, but if for whatever reason you don't have mind control strikers, if the Marvel Future Fight devs, you know, if they tweak the mind control strikers in another way, you know, they tried to do it and it was a terrible idea, so they took it out, but obviously they don't want and understandably so, they don't want the world boss to just freeze forever. Let me show you what it looks like on the other hand, if the world boss can never be mind controlled in this situation, and what it looks like and how much more difficult it becomes for Winter Soldier. Because you have about 5 seconds of immunity on his third skill, but you have to wait pretty much 5 seconds for his 4-5 to come off cooldown. So you can see there, big damage, big spikes of damage, but it's a very risky playstyle because he's essentially got, you know, 5 seconds of immunity on his third skill, and he's got like 1 second maybe of iframe on his fourth skill. That's it. He's got nothing on his 5, nothing on his 1, nothing on his 2. So it would have been nice if the devs had given him just a slight bump on this uniform, on this Infinity War uniform. When I say slight bump, I mean something as simple as, you know, a guard hit. If they'd given him like a 6 guard hit for 6 seconds on his first skill, that would have been perfect. I think that would be enough to tide us over. They're definitely going to have to improve him from a survivability point of view when he gets his Falcon and the Winter Soldier uniform, especially because he's going to be going up against more tier 3s coming later on. But that's really the biggest criticism of Winter Soldier, and that's the biggest question that you have to answer yourself before you consider tier 3ing this character. Do you like his playstyle, and will you be able to keep up with that playstyle? You know, it's a very specific way of playing, and you can't really deviate too much from it. Some people like to do 3 into 5-4 because 3 is the accumulation, but the problem with that is that you get even less of your immunity because you waste a few seconds of the immunity using the sharpshooter iframe. So I much prefer doing 5-4 and then following up with 3 because the buff lasts for 10 seconds, so it will always bleed over into your next rotation. But you have to keep in mind the combo works because of 5 and 4. So you always have to wait for both 5 and 4 to be off cooldown, which is a minimum of 8 seconds. If you didn't have to wait for 5, it's half a second less. That actually does add up and count up. But the good thing, though, I will say, you know, as much as I rag on, as much as I criticize Winter Soldier for having a really annoying rotation, and he does, and, you know, if the boss moves out of the way and they cancel your ability, you don't get damage. If the boss doesn't cancel, but if they move out of the way of the explosions from the grenades on the 5th skill, you lose all your damage. So there is a lot to say about him being, he can be very frustrating to play, but the devs did try to remedy this problem a little bit with their stat bump at tier 3. I have to say, if you take a look at the stat bump, so he's got 6,400 physical attack, base physical attack at tier 2, and he's got 15,000 HP. We're just going to round up that. I know it's 14,944, but it's 1,500. Check out what happens at tier 3. more than double the HP. Now, the physical attack goes up by almost double. It goes up by about 5,000 and change, but it's really, well, actually less than 5,000. But it's really that HP, that crazy HP goes up to 32,000 base HP. That's a lot for a speed type, especially for an 800 cost speed type. That is a heck of a lot of HP. To put that into perspective, Deadpool at tier 3 does not have 34,000 HP. He has 27,500. So Winter Soldier theoretically will have more base HP. Will have more HP on your roster at tier 3 than Deadpool will. Now Deadpool has healing. Deadpool has like basically a mini revive when he drops down to 20%. But you can see here that you got way more. Basically, let me just cut this story short. He has the most HP. He has by far the most HP of any speed type character in the game at tier 3. So they did try to remedy that. You're still gonna get hit with Winter Soldier trying to do that combo, but on the plus side, you've got a lot more HP to work with. So let's get these gears up to 25, and let's get this bad boy to tier 3. We've got everything else set up. We just need to make sure that we don't run out of Titan component packs and Essence of Dimension. While I am upgrading these gears, I want to quickly throw up a image here. This is a poll that I have going on right now. It's been going on for about 12 hours. We have almost 1,000 votes on it already. And this is something that I'm trying to put together with other players to try and, write some sort of letter to Netmarble to get them to have a better picture of what we want as the players, which is why I'm not doing it on my own. I'm doing it in conjunction with other players because the change that they've made, well, first of all, the changes they made to the World Boss Striker things were not good, and to the mind control. More than that, though, the changes that they made to Alliance Conquest, and then subsequently, when we got pissed off, the changes that they made to Alliance Battle, that was beautiful. Those changes don't seem to me like they really know what we want. They gave us more gold in Conquest, which is not the problem with Conquest, and then they gave double the base rewards for ABX, for Alliance Battle Extreme, which is also not the problem. That wasn't really the issue with Alliance Battle Extreme. So I think that they're still lost as far as what it is that we, the players, want. So I wanted to put something together. So having a poll with answers to that question would really help, I think, illustrate the point to the devs and really guide them, because I was really hoping that that survey we filled out, man, we're getting screwed here. I was really hoping that survey we filled out about a month ago for, best and worst game modes, I really thought that survey was going to illuminate and sort of guide the devs in terms of what we wanted, but it seems like they misinterpreted the results of that poll, that survey. I don't think players were around asking for slightly more Alliance Conquest Gold. I don't think players were around asking for Mind Control to be nerfed. So, yeah, with that being said, I do think that we do need to illustrate things better to them. Now, man, I think I got wrecked here. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. It's still pretty low, but it could be worse. I got a lot of CCF. It's crazy that I have almost more well, after this, I am going to have more CCF than any other tier 3 material. So there you go. You can see there that he goes up by about 10,000 physical attack. Now, keep in mind, this is with his own leadership present, so that's why I'm at 31,000. Otherwise, it would be a lot lower if I were to introduce another character and swap it over. He'd be down to 27,900. It's not a huge difference, but it is a difference of a few thousand, so keep that in mind. I don't want to mislead you with the numbers. And then he's getting that crazy HP, so we're going up 20,000 HP. That's a hell of a lot. That's like an extra mistake or two, even at very high levels of World Boss. Even at stage 70, 80, I'm going to be able to make 2 or 3 more mistakes without dying, and that's not even considering if I bring along Anti-Venom to drop those juicy heals constantly. He gets a decent bump on physical defense, actually. I didn't even notice. He gets actually 5,000 physical defense, so that's actually pretty good. And the energy defense. It's not bad. So they're trying to make him a bit of a beefy boy, which I kind of appreciate. He's honestly more of a combat type than speed type, in my opinion. He's much closer to Captain America than Spider-Man. But for whatever reason, they decided to make him speed. So let's go ahead and see this tier 3 animation. For all of you guys that missed it on Twitter, let's go. All right, there you go. He screeches by like he did in Civil War on that motorcycle. The man on the wall. Very, very cool. And let's quickly see what this looks like with his old school Captain America uniform, because it's actually really funny. Let's go, baby. So before we get into this, you actually want to get hit with Winter Soldier's third skill. So when I showed you guys that other example where I didn't use a mind control striker to illustrate that his rotation can be difficult to pull off, that's actually how you want to be playing as him most of the time, because of the fact that if you use Scarlet Witch or use a different kind of striker that mind controls, then you're going to be in a situation where I just crashed World Boss. So he just did so much damage that we crashed World Boss. Okay, cool. I got really scared that I killed her because the bars would not stop dropping. So I tried to press the cog at the top right corner to pause the fight. And this is what happened. So for those of you that like Proxima, you get a nice view of her. Essentially what I was trying to say, I kind of want to stay on the screen because it's a pretty cool screenshot. Anyways, for those of you that like Marvel Future Fight screenshots, here you go. And so what I was trying to say was, you know, you don't want to use mind control strikers with Winter Soldier because you need that accumulation on his third skill, and the accumulation is when you take damage, when you get hit. You don't actually have to take damage, but you have to get hit. You can raise your dodge to 75%, it doesn't matter, but the boss has to be attacking you. So like Captain America with his ultimate skill, like other characters, you want to get to be attacked. And so using someone like Scarlet Witch, using someone like Rachel Summers' Apocalypse, those strikers will really actually reduce and work against Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier especially, you didn't really get to see it, but his ultimate skill is not an iframe. They purposely made it a non-iframe because he jumps off the... I think when he jumps off the helicopter, it's an iframe helicopter. But once he lands on the motorcycle, it's not an iframe, which makes sense. He's driving a motorcycle. Why should it be an iframe? But also it makes sense because if you do 3 and then cancel that into 6, the boss will keep hitting you, which basically amps up and charges up to 60% all attack, that ultimate ability, and then that thing starts hitting, the helicopter lands, the explosion, tons of damage, all defense down, and then you crash the game. Literally. So in order to avoid crashing the game, again, we dialed it up to a stage 85 for Winter Soldier because he's apparently just too strong to do that low of a stage. And again, we want to get hit, so we're going to do 3, and then we're just going to chill around. Again, it's dangerous, of course, and then we got stunned there. His fifth skill got interrupted. I'm not trying to make mistakes here with his... We want to get hit here. I'm not trying to make mistakes with his attacks, but I'm just trying to show you guys... Wow, so much damage. I'm trying to show you guys that Winter Soldier's rotation is difficult. It is difficult to pull off, and it does, it does mess up because of the fact that it's difficult. But his damage output is actually insane, and, he has enough HP. I haven't gotten hit yet, but you basically just use the third skill and wait around for a little bit. Oh, she interrupted it? So if she gets far enough away... Wow, if she gets far enough away from you, she actually interrupts your ultimate skill. That's bad. So yeah, that's the disadvantage of being an iframe skill, is that you can get interrupted. But then the advantage is... Okay. Oh wow, we just got one-shotted. I did not mean to stand there. So of course, a lot of the damage that you take with Winter Soldier can be mitigated by someone like Anti-Venom, and so I brought him along as a striker to illustrate that. But at the same time, going around and collecting heals and stuff like that, you are still going to take ticky-tacky hits once in a while, on top of the fact that you can't always collect heals. It is a lot easier said than done. Oh, just collect the heals. Oh, sure. Why didn't I think of that? It's something that... let's just pop this and see how much damage it does. It's something that sometimes harder to pull off in practice. That is not very good. I don't know why the damage seems so bad, but it does. Okay, but we're on to the next phase. Also, in addition to not being an iframe, I don't think that his tier 3 skill has iframe ignore. We'll need to test it more to be sure, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem to be iframe ignoring Thanos. So that is a bit of a letdown. Most other tier 3 skills have iframe ignore, but to be fair, Captain America's doesn't, so that could be why they didn't give Bucky iframe ignore. But here we go. All right, we're gonna pop. We're gonna get hit. We're late. Yeah, we missed the proc. I think even if you miss the proc, you do good damage. The problem is I took a bunch of damage in the meantime as well. So yeah, that's kind of the downside to Bucky at the same time. You are going to take damage. I think it's almost impossible. When you're trying to accumulate damage, even though you have immunity, it's almost impossible to not also take damage in one way or another. Because you are, you're trying to get hit, like it or not. And you only have a few seconds of waves and waves and waves. Yeah. And man, Thanos hits so hard as well. There's a lot going on this stage. It's really tough to stay alive, but we're gonna do it. I just want to see how much damage he does with one well-timed tier 3 skill with the accumulation, because we are gonna lose the all defense down. So I'm curious to see what the wow, I almost died there. I'm curious to see what the raw damage is like on his tier 3 skill. So we just need to get him. Nope, not that. Not that kind of hit. We need him to do like the laser attack or the slam down. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I died. Okay, so I don't know what happened. I think I got debuffed. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I mean, I would have to maybe watch the playback. It seemed like the immunity ran out really fast. Maybe for some reason, whatever the invincibility. It seems like I didn't have 9 seconds of invincibility because I died like 2 seconds later. And it also seems like the immunity was overridden or sort of like negated by his invincibility, because Thanos can't debuff immunity. So I'm not exactly sure what happened unless he had a penetrating attack, but he didn't because he had just finished doing that wave attack. That was really bizarre. So there might be a bug on Pursuer's Instinct. I should not have died in that situation. So I couldn't test the damage out, which is really frustrating, but I actually tried that one like 5 times and couldn't get it. But at least for now, his damage looks insanely high when you combo him with strikers that do all defense down like Weapon Hex. I mean, he obliterated stage 70, and we already know he can do 99, which is insane. All the while, it's the same build that I've had on him for basically 2 years now. No upgrades. The only thing I upgraded was the Power of Angry Hulk set. I think his set bonus was at 9, and I bumped it to 11, but otherwise, this is pretty much untouched since Infinity War. So you could even go further with this if you wanted. So, wow, I have 3 awakened here. Or 3 amplified here. Wow, that's sad. Yeah, see, I got work to do on this build. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit me up with your thoughts on Winter Soldier. He froze the world boss. Tell me about it. And Taskmaster, maybe if you're going to tier 3 Winter Soldier, you're going to think of ranking up and tier 2ing Taskmaster first, because that skill damage, bonus damage is really good for Bucky. Hit me up in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.